term effective July the 2nd, 2023. And Property Maintenance Code Enforcement Board, reappoint Jeff Sanford to a 3-year term effective July the 2nd, 2023. I'll make a motion to approve these. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, Ms. Davis.
Ordinance 14-2023, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30, 2023, and amending Ordinance 8-2022 to provide funding for wage study, mayor contingency, information technology, and garage equipment needs, and Ben Hall's irrigation project, to receive and appropriate CARES Act funding for rental assistance and small business relief, to provide appropriations and receive reimbursement for secondary employment services and various police grants, and to true up TIF revenues and appropriations for year end. Read for approval on second reading this 20th day of June, 2023.
Thank you. Would somebody please make a motion?
Motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
City Manager, would you like to discuss this at second reading?
It is second reading, Mayor. So I gave a presentation about this item at our last meeting. It's really a standard cleanup budget amendment. There's nothing new or different or controversial included that really requires further discussion. So unless there are no questions, Mayor, I have no comments.
Any other questions from the dais? And we'll have roll call vote. Ms. Davis.
Commissioner Smithroyd?
Aye.
Commissioner Neesmith? Aye. Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Caslin?
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 5B, Ms. Davis.
Ordinance 15-2023, an ordinance closing an alley right-of-way adjacent to 1624 Parish Court, 1625 Cary Court, and 1617 Cary Court in the city of Owensboro, Kentucky. Read for approval on second reading this 20th day of June, 2023.
I'll entertain a motion, please.
Motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
City Manager?
Mayor, we discussed this in our last item, our last meeting as well, provided an exhibit showing the alley to be closed. It's standard closure. All adjoining owners have provided their consent.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Neesmith? Aye. Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Caslin?
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn?
Yes.
Commissioner Smithroyd?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item, 5C.
Ordinance 16-2023, an ordinance closing an alley right-of-way adjacent to 1627 Mayo Avenue in the city of Owensboro, Kentucky. Read for approval on second reading this 20th day of June, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City Manager?
Like the last item, Mayor, this is second reading of an alley closure. It's a standard procedure according to process and our policies and state law, and all contiguous or adjoining property owners have consented.
Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Davis.
Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Caslin?
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn?
Yes.
Commissioner Smithroyd?
Neesmith, right?
Commissioner Smithroyd? That was combined.
I wondered how long it was going to take.
I said I need to separate you two down there.
You ready?
Together.
Aye. Thank you.
Oh, we're not supposed to have that much fun here, are we? Now where are we? 5D?
Yes.
Okay.
Ordinance 17-2023, an ordinance of the city of Owensboro, Kentucky, providing for the creation and sale of a franchise for the privilege of constructing, transporting, operating, maintaining, and distributing natural gas along and under public right-of-way within the city of Owensboro, Kentucky, for a term of 20 years, in consideration for which the successful franchisee shall pay to the city an annual sum equal to a minimum of 3% of the gross revenues derived from the franchise awarded herein, and further establishing a process by which the successful franchisee shall be permitted to disturb and excavate public right-of-way within the city in order to construct, install, maintain, and/or repair its gas facilities, fixtures, and other infrastructure on terms and conditions set forth herein, and further establishing a bid procedure for the award of said franchise to the successful bidder. Read for approval on second reading this 20th day of June, 2023.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City Manager, you want to talk about this again?
Mayor, I'm happy to address any questions, but it's a typical process we go through for various utilities when they use city rights-of-way for their infrastructure. This is when it will relate to Atmos, because they're the natural gas provider for our community. We have similar agreements with Kenergy and cable companies as well. We're just following the process as required by state law and state constitution. So this is the first step in a new agreement. We'll advertise and then come back to award it at a later date.
Thank you. Ms. Davis, roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Caslen,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith-Wright, Commissioner Neesmith, Mayor Watson.
Yes, thank you. Okay. I guess we're on 6. Ordinance, first reading none, municipal orders none, city manager items.
Thank you, Mayor. Angela Waninger will present the May financial report.
For the month of May, for those that have the financial report, you can refer to page 3 for more detail if you like. So for my PowerPoint presentation, it'll be all general fund activity. And as I mentioned, it's for the month of and the 11 months ended May. For the first slide, for the month of May, actual revenues of $5,516,847, were higher than budgeted revenues of $5,016,672, resulting in a variance of $500,175. This variance is primarily due to higher insurance premium license fees and higher interest income, partially offset by lower occupational withholding. The lower occupational withholding is primarily due to higher developer incentive payments for the month of May. We make those payments quarterly. But I do want to add and note that the year-to-date occupational is still $316,000 over budget. So for the next slide, for the 11 months ended May, total actual revenues of $66,184,922 were higher than budgeted of $61,738,669 for a variance of $4,446,252. This variance is primarily due to higher net profits, occupational withholding, and property tax and interest income. The next slide is for the month of May. The general fund actual expenditures were $4,496,420. They were less than the budgeted expenditures of $4,849,597 for a variance of $353,177. This variance is primarily due to savings in personnel, which is due to vacancies, and that variance is $185,285. The next slide is for expenditures of the general fund for the 11 months ended May. Actual expenditures are $57,713,010, which was less than budgeted of $61,632,803 for a variance of $3,919,794. This is primarily due to savings in personnel. We have savings of $1,160,000 through May for savings in personnel, and also due to timing in supply purchases, outside services, and our contribution to OMU. This is our last slide, which shows revenues and expenditures by month. As you can see on the chart, that they are cyclical. And as I mentioned before, this is the nature of finances at the city. Expenses are depicted by the red bar, and they typically outpace revenues in the warmer months when outdoor activities are in full swing. Likewise, we have months where revenues, as depicted by the green bar, outpace expenditures, such as in the months of October and November due to collection of property taxes, and in April due to collection of net profits. So also wanted to add that we budget accordingly. So when we expect revenues to be higher and or expenditures, we budget accordingly. So to wrap it up, the city's doing well. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Second.
So May, we had a $300,000, we spent less than $300,000 from what was budgeted. which month in the summer do we typically spend the most on paving and road projects and things of that nature, historically?
Well, that would be in the warmer months. In the colder months, the asphalt plants are shut down.
Right, but I'm saying, is it August, July, what historically?
It can
from your-
vary. It depends on when the projects are planned. It depends on when the contractors are available. And so our city engineer might be able to better respond to which particular month. But I would say it probably, it's June, July, August would be your higher months.
Right.
It depends to some degree on the other projects that the contractor may have. If the contractor has a large state job, for example, it would depend on their overall schedule. Kevin, is that correct?
Sorry, Kevin. Sorry, Angel.
Yeah, we'll usually have it's called our spring list, which is due to be complete by the fiscal year. So, June's usually pretty heavy, and then the other heavy months are like late fall, just as they're trying to get everything done. So August, September, October, those months.
Well, I just wondered also if this, if the lack of labor, the fact you can't hire people as easily was causing a delay that would in turn reduce the amount of budget we spend over summer.
I'm not aware of any labor shortage as it relates to paving.
I'd say it's just kind of the same with everything else. Yeah, there's a labor shortage with about everything we're dealing with, but we're still getting about 8 miles a year, so.
Of roads paved?
Yes.
All right, thank you, and thank you, Angela.
You're welcome.
Mayor. Thank you. Kevin, before you sit down, well, you've sat down, but anyway, can you tell me, is there an approximate time that 4th Street is going to get better than it is? Because it is horrible.
Yeah, so they're adjusting a manhole lids on it right now. They're going to work on it last week, but the plant was broke down. So we told them not to mill it until the plant was back up and running. Milling it's near they cut it down.
Yeah.
So we didn't want it to make it even rougher until we knew the plant was back up and running. So, but it's on the near horizon. I guess a couple of weeks,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anybody else? And where are we now?
8B, I think.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Consider personnel appointments.
Thank you, Mayor. We have personnel appointments that are new hire probationary status. Sarah Dow, probationary full-time non-civil service appointment to accounting clerk with the Finance Department effective July 3rd. And Brandon Hunt, probationary full-time non-civil service appointment to officer with the Police Department effective July 3rd. We also have promotional probationary, which are existing employees who are promoting to new positions. And that includes John Berry, probationary full-time non-civil service promotional appointment to engineering technician with the engineering department effective July 2nd. And Cody Cliff and Whitney Payne, probationary full-time non-civil service promotional appointments to sergeant with the police department effective July 2nd. And then for regular status, or those who have completed their probationary status or their probationary period, we have Mark Perry, regular full-time non-civil service appointment to instrument technician with the engineering department effective June 19th. Stephen Kaufman and Aleph Zavala, regular full-time non-civil service appointments to officer with the police department effective June 20th. And Whitney McFarland, regular full-time non-civil service appointment to administrative aide with the finance department effective June 20th.
Popcorn. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve these personnel appointments. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. City manager comments.
No other comments tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
I think we'll have communications from the elected officials. Commissioner Smith-Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to wish all fathers a happy belated Father's Day. And also that I attended the Juneteenth celebration at English Park. And it was a wonderful event put on by the Owensboro Black Expo. And it's great to see that park being used because, I mean, it was the perfect location, you know, with that shelter there, you know, and the river. It was cool. You could find a cool spot, but it was a very well-attended event.
Thank you. Commissioner Glenn?
Attended the bluegrass concert last week by Mr. Ferris, our Luther in waiting, I suppose, is the best way to describe it, guitar maker. And looking forward to Romp this weekend. Encourage each and every person who can get out to Romp to do so. It should be a wonderful event.
Commissioner Eastmith?
I would like to say thank you to everybody that has thought about Romp this week. It's very important we do support that because it does help the city. I know our trolley is going to have people, transportation out there and back, so encourage everybody to do that and go to Romp and enjoy it. And again, like Commissioner Glenn, we went to see Rick Ferris and very excited about plans on the horizon to help grow smaller businesses in our community. So it's a lot of things to think about and look forward to.
Thank you. Commissioner Castle?
Thank you, Mayor. I wasn't able to attend Mr. Rick Ferris's concert. I wish I could have, but anyway, Thursday went to the ICMA red carpet event that Fran Marseille had at the convention center. It was a great time. Had Todd Philman, he was a winner of The Voice, and Cody McCarver of Confederate Railroad was there. Anyway, they had 10 competitors that ended up going to Friday After 5 and competing kind of like The Voice type competition. And anyway, Saturday there was a Shively York Neighborhood Alliance over at the York Park with the River City Pickleball Club, and the Pickleball Club gave out free lessons and hot dogs and had a bounce house and free ices, things like that. And like Ms. Smith-Wright, I went to the Juneteenth, attended it at English Park. I had to get there early. I had a wedding to attend that afternoon, but a lot of tents there, good crowd, great atmosphere. And I wanted to give a shout out to Public Works for all that they've done at Monetta Sleep Park. If any of you haven't been by it lately, be sure to go by and check it out. It has new basketball courts, a new gazebo, crepe myrtles are starting to bloom. There's a new fence soon to be put up around it, which will really enhance the beauty of that park, and new playground equipment. But I wanted to give a shout out to Adam Wright and the grounds crew for all that they've done, and to Amanda Rogers and the Parks Department, and to the Public Works for all they've done to that park. It's really been rejuvenated and it's beautiful now. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. I'd like the staff to get together and come with some recommendations, possibly combining a work session with a meeting, or we're going to have a meeting that's going to last 20 minutes, and I'd like to see if we can be more efficient with our time and see what you all could come up with to try. And there's a lot of work to get all this to come together for 20 minutes, but just what you all can do to bring some ideas to the commission, if everybody's agreeable to that. Maybe look at scheduling and such as that, if that's okay. All right, item 10, open public forum. Members of the audience are invited to address the City Commission on any matter of public concern that was not on tonight's agenda. Comments are limited to issues within the scope and responsibility of this commission. Commission meetings are held to conduct city business for the benefit of Owensboro citizens and taxpayers. At this time, anyone who wishes to address the City Commission, please make their way to the podium to be recognized. Speakers must state their name and address for the clerk's record and limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less. Since the item is not on the agenda, no response is required from city staff or commission. Who would like to speak?
I've never done this before, so. I'm
Chief,
nervous.
help her get that
Okay.
mic down, would you?
My name is Gail Fuquay. I live at 2713 Strawbridge Place in Owensboro.
Thank you.
My concerns are the fireworks. The last 4 years have been a really concern of mine. It's gotten worse. I have this bag, and I've got a gallon bag full of debris that is in my front yard last year. It's hard stuff. I've got a glass storm door, and this was hitting my storm door, my windows. They're not being put off in people's private yards. They're out in the middle of the street. And the people that are doing it are not doing it in front of their property. They're moving away from their property. And they're in the middle of the street. They have glass bottles. Last year they had 5. And they were putting them in there and just taking them all off at the same time. So I'm not sure that this is really your concern, but I talked to the Alliance in my neighborhood meeting, and was told to just call the police. But when I called last year, I was told they may come and they may not come, as they only had 10 officers on duty that night. So I don't understand why a city our size only has 10 police officers on duty. Because I know it's not just me, but I've had
Thank you. Counsel, I hate to blindside you with the question about what is the ruling for fireworks within the city limits for do we have one?
We've got a fireworks ordinance, but I don't have it memorized.
You don't?
No, I do not.
I'm sorry. I apologize before I came in. I
Yeah.
didn't know that was going to come up.
I mean, I can look at it
The
and.
chief might know.
Yeah.
Can I use the chief?
there are laws in states, and they can't put them off in the park, the sidewalks, or street, around cars that are parked or cars that are moving, and it has to be at least 200 feet from any structure. And in our subdivision, there is not one structure.
Going to speak. We need you at the podium if you want to speak, because this is being. Do what? I got this to tell you about. Oh, this is even tell you 3 minutes.
The state says you can't put them off in a park or a street or a sidewalk. And you cannot be around a vehicle, whether it's moving or non-moving, and a structure. Now, to me, a structure is a house. Some people may not think that a house is a structure, but to me, a house is a structure. And there's not one house in our subdivision that is 200 feet from one another. They're on top of one another. And on my street, I've noticed that there are cars parked on the streets on both sides. Anytime, day or night, you want to drive down Strawbridge Place, you will see there are cars on both sides of the street. When I go out now, I mean, it's gotten worse. It was not always like that. I've been there 11 years, and the last 4 years. And you have to stop and let someone through before you can go. You can't just go out your drive and go where you want to go. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I mean, I'm in my golden years, and I want peace and quiet. But I love fireworks myself, but the city puts on wonderful things for us. The river, and then there's 3 or 4 different places throughout the city. I don't understand why they're allowed in a subdivision, period. I don't understand that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Andy Gamblin, 2920 Yale Place. I love this city, and I love the county, and y'all do a great job. I know sometimes I'm concerned about different things that's going on. I would like for y'all to maybe relook at some things, like with the alcohol by the cup. To me, I don't think we need that in this city. It's not good for our young people. And of course, I know y'all done the budget, and to the River Park Center, I wish I would not give them the money because they are losing money. And our young people is at stake. And I just wish y'all would do the right thing on that. And this bedding parlor, of course, now I know it's going to the county. I've been doing some praying. Thank the Lord it's not going to the mall. We need to get the mall going in the right way. I mean, if you go to Hopkins County, Madisonville, their mall's doing good. And in fact, now they're getting a tractor place to work on tractors and everything, to sell tractors, and it's going to be put in Hanson. That's going to be a good thing for Hopkins County. Why couldn't Owensboro or Davis County have got that? I mean, but yet we getting a bedding parlor. To me, that's going to be hurting the families, because statistics shows that, you know, a lot of family goes and gamble and they lose their money, they lose their homes, and we don't need that in this city or even in this county. And I just pray y'all would please do the right thing. I mean, it's a wonderful place to live. The Bluegrass Museum, the Juneteenth celebration. I mean, it's wonderful. And I do thank the Lord for all y'all. I do. And I know y'all got a lot on your plate. But please just do the right thing, please. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Could I have a second, please? Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You're welcome to stay. Thanks, staff, for being here.